everybody. Welcome. We're so excited that you're here tonight to be a part of a very empowering week. We call it Africa Week for a reason because it is celebrating our motherland, it is celebrating our heritage, it is celebrating
our mouths were maple trees, everlastingly tapped for our oozing sap, but no one was there to taste how sweet. Locally planted, locally grown, locally harvested, and then locally thrown. Our words were projected into crowded classrooms, coffee shops, and auditoriums, but no one was there to hear how strong. Locally planted, locally grown, locally harvested, and then locally thrown. Our time was spent like loose coins thrown into glistening pools of hopeful wishes, but no one was there to see our change. Locally planted, locally grown, locally harvested, and then locally thrown. Underrated, debilitated, unappreciated. Our mouths were maple trees, everlastingly tapped for our oozing sap, but no one was there to taste how sweet. Support your local artists.
Hello, how's everybody doing? I don't have any 5-minute poems, so never waste the opportunity on the stage. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a mother of 6. I'm an author. This is my book, Drowning in My Own Spit. Actually, I started performing after seeing Miss Jessica Caramore on this very stage in 2003. And like the show was like a 4-hour show and nobody left. And it was packed, so I'm kind of sad to see it's not packed today, but you know, it is what it is. Also, the sentiment from the local artists has been support your local artists, support your local art. If you see right now, this is what we're talking about. I know it's a lot going on with the wider situation and everything, but we have to, you know, keep that sense of community and keep that going. So, here goes nothing. I found God in myself and I loved her dearly. With her around, I don't need anyone else near me, so at times I speak so that only she can hear me. On occasion, I get teary when I think about the she who almost wasn't, and the hundreds of little girls just like her, so each day I rewrite her with one detail remaining constant: she's always a fighter. I may not always like her, but I'll always love her. I'm not afraid to show her public displays of affection. She is my resurrection, the reflection of my hardest learned lessons. See, I offer her protection while she gives me clarity. I feel like she's getting the short end of the stick, but that doesn't seem to matter. She says that as long as I repay her with laughter, that I fulfill my obligation. She said she's been here from the beginning, I just had to give her some space, and she'll be here for the duration. I just have to be patient and trust her. She's made up of portions of my daughter and my mother, and Aunt Norma, and Aunt Val, and Grandma Annie, and Grandma Fan, and all those other women who let me hold their hands and gave me pieces of themselves so that I could expand. I can never fully repay them, so in their names I plan to tell every little brown girl I meet that she is beautiful. Give them first-hand accounts of what this world can do to you and teach them how to fight through it. I'll show them that happiness is replenishable, but it's up to them to renew it. No one can give it or take it. So sometimes the best battle plan is to be still and patient. Rebel with silence. My mama taught me that I could kill them with kindness. My daughters taught me about love and its definite blindness, and that I am definitely a demonstration of how the divine dwells within each person. So I'll stop searching. I've channeled all that energy into fulfilling my purpose, and no, I'm not perfect, but I'm still working. And maybe one day I'll scratch the surface. Thank you.
There is no better time than now. This is for the local poets, writers, actors, musicians. There is no better time than now. I'm going to trade in my comfortable crowds for forced smiles, pulling back my duct tape and screaming my demands to be heard, because it's about to get real. Audience, I'm sure you know my power. I'm sure you know the beauty of my melanin. I'm sure you know my African lineage. I'm sure you know my worth. So this is not a piece to remind you. This is a piece you won't forget. Thank you, you from Flint, for the box. But here is my soap to wash away the glitter sprinkled over invitations and opportunities that require much of my energy, but continue to leave be powerless. Figuratively, the message. Poetic words matched with transcending thoughts are nice, but what happens when you don't put a value to them? How much do you charge for your soul? How much do you charge for your heart? How much do you charge for your truth? Questions that need answers. I'll pay you for free. I'll pay you for free. Starving artist. A person who is forced to live through pennies for their priceless art. Example, local artists. Example, Michigan-Flint students. Example, the Flint community. Example, me. The demand. Understand the underpaid. Locate the locals. Locate the locals. Please allocate for the locals. The lesson. You can tell a lot about the progression of a community based on how much they give back to their people. Do not be blinded by the sprinkles over your pre-cut cakes. Ask the bakers, how are they doing? What about Flint and its people? We need more soil. We need more water. We need more seed sown. Take us seriously, and so will they. Support your local artists.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask you, if the people who are meant to be protecting us are exposing themselves as monsters, yet society is protecting the monsters, who's left to protect the victims? Who becomes the guardian of our skin? Who becomes responsible for our sins of being born light, dark, brown skin type, black, who has our backs tracked? We carry this entire country on our backs and never got a thank you, never got a proper pat on our backs tracked. We're running for freedom, running for equality, running for a chance to be seen as human, but we can't tell the difference between finish lines and lifelines because the shades of gray all look the same anyways. How to get away with murder, America? You are a liar and a fraud. You teach our children on Saturday morning cartoons that the heroes will always win in the end, when in fact, we can't tell the difference between the heroes, the victims, or the villains because the costumes all look like the same shade of fake anyways. How to get away with murder? Lie to the jury. Tell them it was self-defense. Hide the fact that you have a fetish for shooting shadows. I said lie to them. Tell them you've made a poetry out of Miranda rights. Remind them that your First Amendment right only guarantees you freedom of speech, not freedom to breathe. So us telling you that we cannot breathe means everything and nothing, because honestly, that's just one less nigga buying Skittles at your liquor store. One less nigga on the subway home ready to marry the love of his life. One less nigga ready to wife somebody's daughter, make an honest woman out of her. It's always one less nigga. Stop making story problems out of our lifelines, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I do not need to be held in contempt of court, but if I may question the witness, just 1 second, just 1 second. Officer, since when did walking home look suspicious? Since when does it take a misplaced spine before I get medical attention? Since when do I have to wear a bulletproof vest to a pool party? Since when do I have to walk down the street and wonder how many breaths I have left because I cannot breathe? How to get away with murder? Discredit the witness, or rather kill the witness, then assign him his alibi officer. How do you sleep at night, knowing you spent your shift shooting shadows and managed to get away with it? Knowing that you spent your shift dismantling angels before they had a chance to earn their halos, officer. What about your badge gave you the power to play God with no Jesus left in you? What about your badge gave you the power to be another empty shell of an authority figure, officer? How do you figure that the only way you gain respect is to pump it into the hearts of the people you are meant to be protecting anyways? We will rest our case, Your Honor. But before we go, if we may address this grand jury just one last time, if nothing else, America has taught us one thing, one very important thing, and it's how to get away with murder. It's very, very, very simple. How to get away with murder. Be right and hope to God that it is white enough to matter.
I love this book. Wear it out with words. Jessica Cameron, over the glass on the streets is broken. And so are the people. And so are our homes. And so are our hearts. Everything is shattered. Everything that cemented our dreams is fragmented. It seems we've been unraveled. never having traveled past the things that those pieces bring because they were our only means of being and our only means of fleeing these rocky roads where even the mellow is hardened. Because in every taste there is a hint of almond, crushed and covered in sweet chocolate, but frozen and stiff in order to hold ourselves together, preserve who we are. But thus far, the temperature of this atmosphere has melted our resolves and intensified our fear, dripping a little of us there and spilling the rest of us here. So all you see is this watered down version of what we're supposed to be, pushed through factories and then mass produced and then induced to offer up our youth, but our loyalty has only gone unrewarded. It has only afforded us a debilitating cancer that continues to spread, forcing us to amputate our legs and our breasts. How can we nurse our children from flat chests? How can we get upset when they refuse to digest the poison we dress up as an education? We put suits on drooling bums, plaque and nicotine eroding their gums, putting a putrid, pungent scent on every word they emit, and they reek of lies and alcohol and stories of exaggerated success that's mediocre at best. And we equip them with a question-proof vest, a 9mm lesson plan, and one set of instructions: fire at will, kill any spirit they have left, and choke their dreams to death, or at least into the pressure around their necks, turn some blue and others red. Either way, they end up dead, and the streets are broken again. When we place our children in, when we shovel over the memories, hoping for something beautiful to grow, when we all know we only reap what we sow.
Gifted and black.
Man, perceived only to destroy, ridicule, and deceive. On paper, I should have 2 strikes, 2 baby mamas while crusading the streets. Bred to fight a war against myself. The score stands 0 wins, all losses. Yet I'm supposed to stand in front of you and floss like 2 bosses. Hello. It's me. Not the one you see on TV. Not the one strung out just for a few likes. Not the one getting in a fight and being abusive just for a few comments, or the one abusing my woman and my relationship and my manliness just for a few shares. My name is Anami. Unwilling to follow in their routine, with my youthfulness like MLK, I shall march on. With my gift, it shall make room. And with my color, for those that stare, it shall be a remembrance that their racial and gender decertification won't hold me, that the chains of their mental bondage won't keep the light back that was destined to beam out of the box they try and put me in. I am young, gifted, and black man. Young, gifted, and black
woman. Not your typical strong black women. Those women allow disappointment. The women who don't need a man. They're independently depending on their own pride. They're nothing but over-sexualized. These women are in constant competition with women just as them. You can't see them on TV, but they're athletes. Fighting each other with music videos, commercials, reality shows. These strong black women in constant competition with women equally insecure. Ironically, their enemies is their inner me. I mean, they're the welfare queens, uneducated, so they only go with what feels good, and pissed off because everything only lasts a minute, 58, 59, 60 seconds go by, and all you see is women with bad attitudes. Honey, they are closed-minded, thinking their only future is to have big breasts, small waists, and huge backsides, but hello? Is it me you're looking for? No. Of course not. I'm young, but I'm old enough to know that 2 hands are better than 1. I'm smart enough to know that the only man seeing my body is the one. I'm gifted. I received full rights to 8 different schools, but how did I get into there? I mean, who cares that I actually like going to school?
and my mind's not wrapped around sitting in line just to receive a check just to pass the time. I want more. I actually like to go to school. I want the highest score on my exam so I can make more zeros than you can count with 2 hands and give back to my fam. I am black pride, because all black is more colorful than any rainbow could hold. We're covering myself in wisdom, and no contract could ever take away my clothes. And I guess it's just how it goes, because I'm young, gifted, and black. Thank you.
Mrs. Jessica Taylor.
I don't know what Gary's talking about. That's absolutely crazy. I know some of the baddest boys in the land. I just talked to one of them yesterday, her name is Sonia Sanchez.
Yeah.
And that's still, I got people I'm trying to catch up to. So it's really not about like even being like the best poet. It's about being the best person and about being as good. I'm trying to be as good as I can be. You know what I mean? Like there's, you heard the poets tonight. There's so many people that can write poetry. I'm trying to walk in it. I've been doing it for such a long time now. And it's just real deep to be in Flint. My son is here. My son King is here. Hey, King. And he heard to be young and black. He's like, I know that. I know it's young. Be quiet. But his grandmother is here, so he has about over 20 cousins, first cousins in Flint, and aunts and uncles, and so our family is here. So Flint has always, been, it's just an extension of where I grew up, the north side of Detroit. It's no different, and we 50 miles from the same water crisis. But it really, I spent the last few hours with my mother-in-law, and she's, she's hard. She's on the north side, it was heartbreaking for me to be in the house and see water stacked up in the living room and me bringing her water, and, it's fucked up here, it's fucked up what this governor has done to our people here. And it's, what's really sad about it is that we got in the hotel in Grand Blanc, right, which is like right next door, it's up the street. And there's no problem with their water, of course, because they're getting it from the Detroit, the same place that Flint should be getting their water in the first place. But that this has been allowed to happen, this environmental racism that we are dealing with here in Flint, because that's what it is. It's a form of genocide, it's on purpose. It's because 65% of the people in the city of Flint are black, and the rest are poor white folks. And so poor white folks are just niggas, and so they don't care about them, they don't care about us, and it's just, what do you do? Because, it reminded me of being in New Orleans, I remember, telling people, like, why aren't you leaving here? And, people, it's so easy to say, just get up and go. But, people been living his grandmother been living on her house, in her block for 30 or 40 years. That's her people, that's who knows her. She'd walk out and wave, and so, to tell somebody, I'm trying to get her to move, which is what they want you to do, because it's all set up so that y'all can move, so the white folks can move back in Flint. I mean, we already know that's what it is. They're trying to, it's a land grab in Detroit, and it's definitely won't happening here. Why the governor and whatever hellish behind the scenes thing decided that he was going to poison an entire city and her children and their children's children, I do not know. But, so I'm happy to be here. Poetry is a healing language. I don't know if we can't heal problems with bows, but for it to just come down to water is real sad for us. Sad for us as a country, that we don't have adequate water in America. Doesn't that sound crazy? So I'm gonna read some poetry. I want to start with my 5th book is coming out this year. We Want Our Bodies Back. More Black Press. And it's publishing books, because a lot of people are poets, but what I pretended to be is an institution builder. And so I've published now 12 or 13 books in my press. I have a new poet coming out, Brad Walrine, out of New York this year. We're doing our first major anthology, Call Our Names. And then We Want Our Bodies Back, which is the title poem for a piece I wrote for Sandra Bland. And I think, it's a crazy poem to kind of start with, Gary, but I just feel like let me just do it. And it's kind of an intense piece, but I feel like I need to do it. So, here I go. So this is for Sandra. Y'all know Sandra Bland, right?
Yes.
We want our bodies back. If black women could be cut down, no, removed gently from American terrorism, Who would break our fall? Which direction would we travel to feel safe? Wild is the wind. If we could turn in this skin, this sharpened bone, this brain full of power and history, who will we resemble? Invisible doesn't come in black. How many nervous breakdowns? How many funeral black dresses? How many fibroids? How many nooses? How many of our bodies must be raped, cut into pieces, burned inside garbage bags, buried? How many of us blossom a beautiful tree of life and pray their pride isn't cut down the middle, reduced to trunks, or a close friend doesn't die climbing their limbs, attempting to simply grow outside the gritty soil they were planted? I put a spell on you. Holly hobby ovens, Girl Scout cookies and Barbie dolls. Don't prepare our revolutionary daughters born with cakes and wings to have a pig's knee pushed into their backs. Girls raised by wolves, taught to disappear, to be quiet, to not talk about it. How much black breath is allowed space in the state of Texas, a place that has sucked the life out of countless, miscounted, uncounted, brown, poor women die here. I got life. Sandra Bland got the death penalty for a traffic stop. Her body was 28 years young. How to make sense of our bodies burned by cigarettes, bodies smoked out their own neighborhoods, bodies with abandoned lungs and hearts, bodies mistaken for women when they are still girls. How do we construct a survival guide, a poem for our daughters' bodies without throwing up our breakfast? How do our mothers' bodies not implode after telling our sons to comply, to not speak, to keep their heads down, to allow their bodies to be dragged by racist police? Jim Crow ain't never flown with this much wingspan. Eagles running for safety now, for the reach is deep and southern and Midwest, shadows the east, lands in the west. Texas, you will always be Mexico in denial. Poet Ron Allen asked for his body back in 1996, and we are still waiting. We want our bodies back. We want our bodies back. We want our bodies back. We want them returned to mothers, without blood, without brains exposed, without humiliation, without bruises, without glass, without fire. We want our bodies back. We want our cities back. We want our culture back. We want our land back. We want our streets back. We want our freedom. We want our justice. We want our bodies back. We want our bodies back. We want them wrapped in white silk. We want them paraded around the White House. We want these flags you stand up for a baseball game at half-mast. We want national holidays in honor of our bodies, our knees, our prayers, our ears, our genitals, our eyes, our fingers, our feet. We want a 21-gun salute when we enter a room. We want our bodies back. We want them anointed in oils. We want them worn around your neck. We want them remembered. We want them worship on Sunday. We want our magic you try to buy. We want our essence you attempt to steal. We want our elegance, our sex, our walk. We want our cool. We want our recipes, our intelligence, our science, our stars, our history. I want my Moroccan nose. I want my holy water breast. I want my Maasai legs. I want my alien arms. I want my Ivory Coast mouth. I want our breath back. I want our time back. I want your foot off our girls' back. I want all your badges back. I want you to evaporate into dust like swatted moths. Don't cut me down for the noose. Let my legs dangle for the devil. What a spectacular magic show. Why you turn the cameras off? Why you turn the cameras off? This is a simple ballet. You got front row. This is your venue. This cell, this hole is no one's home. There's no place for a woman to die. You probably never heard of Judith Jameson, Catherine Dunham. Oh, we know how to get our legs in the air. We know how to elevate and use our bodies to tell a story of middle passage, of survival, of lynchings. You have always loved our bodies under your control. Don't you touch me. Don't you take me down, murderers. Don't you touch my body. Don't touch my music. Don't touch my patience. Don't touch my car door. Don't come near my window. Don't talk to me in that tone. This body of work got work to do. I'm resurrecting my body in new forms daily. Watch for me in your deepest sleep. Black's the color of my true love's hair. Listen for my songs. Watch for my walk. Listen for my voice. My black girl attitude. Watch my body resist your death traps. Watch me rise. Watch my rebirth. Watch us rise up from this new Jim Crow. From these new unspoken apartheid laws. We want our bodies back. We want our bodies back. We want to take them, protect them, raise them, remember you. Sandra Bland, we will never forget your brown body, your mind, your pride, your spirit, your love, your vow to do God's work. We want your drive from Illinois to Waller County back. We want all our daughters back, and we want them back now. Come on! When I was green, when I was like 17, 18, I was out there from Alice Green, thinking I was doing something. Amadou Diallo, in the streets with my first son, in New York City, just pounding the pavement. But in St. Louis, with those folks holding their big AR-15s toward my people and my friends, I was like, oh, they will actually go to church. But they hate us. Okay, this is the KKK. I had never experienced the KKK up close. You hear about it, you see it in movies, and you hear your mom and your daddy talking about it. But I was like, oh, that's what this looks like. That's what it feels like. Dogs and National Guard and helicopters. Wow, this St. Louis? Wow, this is bananas. This is America. This is 2013, 14 is crazy. So it was deep. So this is called a different kind of power. It's just about how, as a mother, who's a mother? Okay, so who's a woman? Okay, so do you know that all women are mothers, right? And so I've known that, you don't have to birth a child to be a mother. Before I had this one, I have a 20, my son Omari will be 21 in March. I raised him since he was a baby. And his dad had 3 children when I married him. So you marry somebody with some kids, believe it, you ain't never been a mama. You are one now. And beyond just people's kids, because you dating or marrying them. I mean, our children, there's lots of children out here who need you. So if you have not given birth, but you feel like you're young and you can't be a mom yet, it's not true. It's not true. You're born mothers. So a different kind of power is about how I want to raise my child to not be, so in this violent world, this violent ass country we live in. We're having to tell our sons different things. Because boys are always made like they have to fight and be tough, and I have a different approach when it comes to my child. I will choke him up, I'm just saying, but I think he should be able to be human. I dream of a place where I can simply raise my native son to be human, to love music, to make art, to fall in love, and to make things he loves with his hands. I am not urban fiction. My blood is blue and tastes sweet as a Huntsville watermelon. I have seen black seeds spit out enough to die in my arms. I have buried blood bitter before it was truly ripe. I've become a hardened green rind, too numb to death, too cold to swallow. I don't want to raise another necessary warrior. Black man on constant defense. Is that weak, feminine, delusional? Maybe in Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, this is just a dream. A mother's heart, a naivety, a nerve forgotten. I want to tell our boys, I see the old goon fire walk in you. The Kwame Ture fire, I want to tell our boys, I see the old goon iron walk in you, the Kwame Ture fire in you. I want to tell our daughters that I know the source of your internal bruises. I know that a brown girl's pain passes down quietly through our families like hand-me-down heels that don't fit into your girlhood at knife point. We are killed with no large community outcry. You are more than a pole dancer or the mirror those haunted magazine covers make you believe they're make-believe. Nothing about you is ugly, holy water princess, oh ya eyes, ya swimming in your womb, castles for legs, running water past everything in every corner. They said you weren't gonna ever turn beautiful, but you are. Cold heart shining, the bling is buried deep in the marrow of your bones, beneath the surface of your skin. Chin up warriors, young goddesses in pigtails. They turn double dutch into iambic pentameter, so you couldn't find the poem you wrote. They thought we wouldn't find you. Concrete flower with stem spines, but I see you, probably with miseducation. And how many times have you been called what you are not? We need you to collect our breath and milk inside mason jars. There are women who've been writing about you, waiting for you. Daughters of Zora, Sanchez, and Brooks. There are no iron chefs that can burn stories the way sisters can cook with pens, with maps, with a turn of a head, the colossal push of our hips to birth a nation. Young Malcolms and Turners, and you turn on us, on yourselves, in the name of land you don't own. Your fight is not for our people, but with your own people. We sacrifice our cervix to fix the future. We need you to make it there. You are the masters of this universe, the imagination of Octavia, the truth of Sojourner, collectors of butterflies and cocoons just waiting to happen. I was 17 when I realized I could save the lives of all my boys by closing my legs and making them love me. Wait, I was 17 when I realized I could save the lives of all my male friends by closing my legs and making them love me enough so they would listen when I said, no, you cannot go shoot up that house with your boys tonight. I need you to stop chasing death. We walk in a place that detached our legs from trees that bore strange fruit and gave birth to blues. Are we to push them back up into our womb to save them from a life of inhumanity? Where is the Sonia Sanchez haiku vision of peace? I'm tired of black boys being treated like a pack of pit bulls. I don't want to be afraid of my own sons. Is that too much to ask? I'm simply attempting to give my beautiful spirited son a different kind of power. Wow. Y'all right? Yeah. All right, let me do this. So y'all heard of apartheid, right? We know what apartheid is? Mm-hmm. Right, so when I traveled to South Africa, I've been there twice now. It was really a deep experience for me.